All righty. Good morning. Karen Lovely here, and the podcast, The Power of Self-Evolution, why it is so vitally important to evolve within self, within ourselves, our mindset, our heart set, for long-term sustainable success, happiness, dreams come true. I am so thrilled, honored to have my guest this morning. Before I tell you who he is, let's go through some of his amazing accomplishments. He played Division I college football for the University of Hawaii Warriors. And then he graduated from the University of Hawaii with a degree in psychology, which is so freaking awesome. 5-time scholar athlete. And I will go on, but I will tell you right now I am with Shane Austin, a professional Arena Football League quarterback. He's amazing. He's got a bullet of an arm. I've only seen videos of him play, obviously, and he is currently playing for the China Arena Football League in Shanghai. You know, that's so interesting because my father was born in Shanghai. And anyway, that said, good morning, Shane Austin. How are you?
Good morning, Karen. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I mean, there's so many things. Okay, before I wanted to say more because there's so many amazing things here that I'm just like, wow, it's so exciting. But this Arena Football, China just started the league officially last year, 2016. And yep, and you were part of that. And you also were, in that first year, awarded Offensive MVP for the league. Congratulations. That is pretty amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was a fun season, and you know, we had a good year. It was a great turnout for the first ever season, and I'm looking forward to going back in the in the spring of 2018.
Yeah, okay, right. So you're on what they say in show business hiatus right now. I mean, you're off season.
Right.
Yeah. It's really called off season.
Yeah, it's a long off season. This is probably the longest off season I've ever had, but it allowed me the time to focus on some other things within, you know, the coaching realm and all these other things that I'm building, which is exciting. So I can't wait to do it. I'm getting the itch to get back on the field again, but I gotta wait till spring, I guess.
Yeah, but oh my God. Okay, so many things to talk about. So let's start with, well, we met because you are the president and COO of Extreme Focus, and you're a certified Extreme Focus mental performance coach, and that's how I met you, because I'm getting certified, to also be an Extreme Focus coach. And I mean, I have a private practice now, but this is adding just like a supercharged element to my resume and my abilities. And I am so in awe of professional athletes, elite athletes, and people. It's really people who go for a dream and sustain it. So we're going to, right, and then I'll come back to some of these things that are amazing. Well, I'm going to say it right now. I mean, the franchise records, as in Arena Football, you had the most touchdown passes in a season, right? That's amazing, 101. And then most touchdown passes in a game, 11. Most points in a game, oh my God, I can't see my thing. 86, right? So, I mean, these are amazing stats. And then, but you know, the real deal, Shane, is that you're like such an amazing person, human being. You know, you're humble and approachable, and you don't come off as this, you know, well, I'm going to say it, like this arrogant, egotistical maniac, you know, like you are such a humble human being, which makes you even more amazing to me, right? With all these accolades and accomplishments. So I
appreciate that.
Yeah, you're incredible. And so, okay, let's go back. You started playing football at how old?
I started playing football at 9. I played soccer and baseball up to then, and I decided, okay, I'm going to throw in some pads and give this whole football thing a try. But I wasn't a quarterback right at first. My first year, I was actually a wide receiver, and I was like the third-string quarterback. I didn't get thrown into being a quarterback until until that year when our starting quarterback got sick, and somehow they turned to me to be the guy. And let's just say it wasn't a great start to my career, but I got the bug. I got the bug that I wanted to be the guy holding the ball every single play, the guy in charge, the leader. And the very next year is when I started to take off in that position.
Okay, so now you're 10 years old. You're like, right? Yes. Oh my God. Okay, I have to say it. That's so adorable, but it's like, okay, you already sound like a big career, and you're just 10 years old. That's amazing.
Oh, we were little bobbleheads out there. The helmet's too big to fit our head. We look like we're gonna fall over. We're so top heavy.
Okay,
those are the good days, simple times.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty amazing. So let's think about this. You were not a quarterback. Why do you think, or did they ever tell you why they selected you to step up to be the quarterback when the other kid was sick? Why do you think that?
That's a good question. It might have just been just chance at that time. The backup quarterback was also our starting running back, so they didn't want to move him to quarterback, so they just went straight to me, the third stringer, who'd never had any experience at quarterback. Was just, I was pretty athletic, even from, just naturally from a young age. And I had a good arm. But gosh, I didn't know what it took to be a quarterback, and I just thought I could do it the next year. It wasn't until my coach, he talked to me in the off season one time. He had a sit down with me. He's like, okay, if you're going to be my quarterback, you need to be first in all the drills and all of the conditioning. You need to be a leader. And thank God I was receptive at that age. I was just a sponge that I just took it as a challenge, and I made sure I was the first in everything. I made sure I led by example. All these things that I still to this day try to emulate, but it was all from that one little conversation. He said, okay, if you're going to be the quarterback, you got to show me a commitment. And I committed, and I learned the tools that I needed. I started to, really take off with it. But I had to push through it. I had to be persistent, and over time it started to come together.
Okay, so let me ask you this: that was the coach, which is a very influential person in your life. Did your dad have anything to do with it? Did you remember your dad saying?
I'd be lying if I say he didn't. He was, I was fortunate to grow up with, basically a mental performance coach as a dad. And he didn't even really get into the real coaching side of things until probably my high school years. But he always had that coaching within him, and he was always instilling principles within me to persevere and to have a strong belief system in myself. And those are traits that I was able to take onto the field and things that I still use today. So it was great. I was fortunate enough to have that influence growing up.
Okay, so then did he allow you to choose the sports, or did he kind of push you in any which way? How did that go? Did he
Oh yeah, they absolutely allowed me to choose whatever sport I wanted to, and they all knew that I was going to be into sports. I mean, I think before I could even walk, I was already picking up a ball and throwing it across. I'd be in the car seat, in the back seat, just throwing something to the front and almost getting us in a car accident. Like, okay, this guy's going to be some kind of athlete.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so cute.
I did baseball. I did soccer. I did golf. And really, my mom and my uncle were the ones who were trying to push me to do golf. They're like, it's so much safer. You don't have to take the hits. You can do golf for the rest of your life. But I just had a passion for football. I don't know what it was, but that was just, I felt my calling.
Okay, and that came at 9. Can you clearly remember going, I want to play football? Saying to yourself?
Yeah, no, I saw my friends doing it. A lot of kids started at 8. I felt like I was already behind the bandwagon on that. And I just decided, and some people went into flag football. I was like, you know what, I just want to hit. I want to go and, just get kind of rough with it in a sport where I can be physical and be aggressive, even though at that young age I wasn't really that aggressive. I was actually more of a baby.
Oh my God, how funny.
When it came to injuries or getting a little boo-boo. But it toughened me up. It toughened me up for sure, and I loved it. I just loved the thrill of competition, the pressure, all of that. I just loved it from a young age.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And the reason I say that is because I do believe, everything that happens to us as kids impacts our life today. And as I look back, even I was 7 when I started riding horses. And then I was just actually talking about this yesterday to a friend, is, at 7, I used to think, God, my mother never came up to the barn to make sure that I was safe. I had to trespass onto the estate. But I did this. 7 years old, I started myself because I had an affinity for horses. But Shane, I went up there every week for my lesson with my mother never, ever telling me I had to go. And I did it on my own for almost 5 years, from 7 to 12 years old. So that's pretty amazing. Wow. As a little kid, yeah. But I'm thinking, God, my mom, she didn't support me. Like, she didn't even come up to the barn. I mean, God knows what could be happening up there, right? But then I turned it around and reframed the perspective of, oh my God, I was such a little go-getter. And here you are 9 choosing football. Like, that is not like a light sport,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the dedication like you had, I had to have that same dedication. I was fortunate enough to have some great opportunities and influences in my life. I got some really good coaching from a young age. We had a former NFL quarterback would come to our, not to my house, but my head coach's house, and me and my other, the coach's son, we would go and train with him, and I'm like a young kid getting this NFL-style coaching on fundamentals from a young age, and it was just amazing opportunity. And then I got more coaches as I, at every level, I had some just great influences, but it took that work and dedication behind it. It couldn't just be, okay, here's how to do it. I still had to be the one to do it. They couldn't do it for me. So I had that same dedication that you were talking about, but I was fortunate enough to have such great opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities.
Okay, yeah. So here's the thing. Up to 12, but my first horse show, this was a tragedy for me because I was a jumper, and my very first jump class, I couldn't get my horse over the jump, so I defaulted. And I was devastated, Shane. Like, it still haunts me today, and I see it. I didn't know for so many years that was probably the number one thing that has stopped me in my life because it matters. So I was not able, I had the talent and the drive, and I was very gifted equestrian, but I didn't have the self-esteem and the confidence. Yeah. So going back, do you remember a time where you felt like you didn't do well and you almost maybe wanted to quit, but you didn't? Do you have any memories of anything like that where it, you're like, so fed up, even though you're young, you're just a kid, but any memories like that?
Yeah, a couple things come to mind. We're just talking about, where you were saying is like one memory sticks in, like, it's almost like a what if, or not necessarily a regret, but it's like, that was such a huge impact. And it's funny how we just like, we latch onto those negative plays. Like, I can sometimes after a game, I can only remember the bad plays for some reason. I have to train myself to look, okay, there was some positives here. We got to look at that. But I remember one when I was in youth football, I played both ways. I played on defense as well. It was a playoff game. It was a big team that we were playing, tough opponent. It was neck and neck. And I had an interception right in my hands. It was thrown right to my chest, like probably the
my God. Yes.
catch I could have ever had. And it just went straight through my hands, off my chest, onto the ground. And I still, to this day, it doesn't haunt me as much, but I remember as a kid, just like praying that a time machine would get invented so I could go back and just make that catch, because we ended up losing that game. Season was over. I was like, all I had to do was make that catch, and we would have probably won. And I just beat myself up because of it. But fast forward, high school, talking about, was there any times you ever wanted to quit or anything like that? At every level, they always said I was too small. I was too small to be able to play this sport. It's a big man's game. And even my coaches, like I remember my freshman year, my head coach was saying, okay, we're going to go with this guy because he can throw the ball farther than you. I'm like, really? That's all it takes to be a quarterback is just throw the ball as far as you can? So I had to fight through that. I had another coach telling me I should probably switch positions. But I had ingrained at a young age a strong belief system in myself. I was like, you know what? I appreciate you sharing, but I'm going to do my thing. Like, I know I'm going to be able to do it. I'm going to not only prove you wrong, but prove myself right that I can do it.
Wow.
And I was able to always overcome those naysayers. And, you know, I like to say, you know, forgive them for what they do not know. But a lot of times we give into other people's belief systems. But when we can truly be grounded in our own belief system, that's powerful. And I was able to, you know, understand that at a young age, which was so beneficial to my success long term.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think, looking back now, when they said you couldn't, do you think that was the major reason why, and, you know, your driving force was when they were saying no? Or did you just have the natural driving force to say no, you know, I know I'm talented, I'm good? What do you think?
I had a very natural drive within me, because from a young age I was like, I'm going to play in the NFL. I'm going to be, you know, the greatest. Like, I always just had that belief. I didn't even look at myself as small. I didn't see that. I just saw myself as, I'm going to do this. And I think when those naysayers came in, because I had a lot of them throughout my career, and I still get them, it was kind of that competitive drive kicked in. With not only, you know, within myself, I was like, you know, I can do this, but I still did have this little chip on my shoulder, like, I want to show you. I want to prove you wrong. And, you know, and it even translated into college. You know, I remember, you know, not getting the starting job and being the backup and being frustrated in that and being so mad at my coaches, you know, because that's something out of my control. The coaches decide that, not me. But all I can control is what I do. And I remember we were playing USC. It was the first game of college football. It was on national television. Millions were watching. They were ranked, I think, 18 in the nation at the time. And I was in a big setback at that time, because I had just been, you know, I was riding the bench. They just announced that I wouldn't be the starter. And I was so frustrated. And the quarterback goes down. I get the nod to come in the fourth quarter, and it was like what Ray Lewis says. He says, you know, be pissed off for greatness. And I was pissed off. And I went in there with a freaking fire and a chip on my shoulder, and that I could not be denied. And it ended up being my best game. I went up and you know, threw 2 touchdowns back to back, just absolutely lit up.
Wow.
The defense, which was a very powerful team. And we ended up losing because, you know, we were already down a little bit, but it was a shootout. And it was just a reminder to me, you know, just kind of that reaffirmation that that I do belong, that I could do it. But I did take that little fuel. Okay, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys that I can do this.
Yeah, well, but you use your powers for good and not evil. You are able to turn that around and still execute, you know, effectively and efficiently to throw the 2 touchdowns, right? There's one thing to say, I'll show you, and then you mess it up and sabotage yourself, versus I'll show you, and boom, there you are in the fourth quarter, and they pull you off the bench. That's even harder to do.
Right. And it took, you know, fortunately for me, I had already ingrained some good mental practices. I was very, you know, mentally healthy. That little, you know, I can see that, you know, being fueled by anger can also have those negative effects. But really, at the end of the day, when I think back on it, I really came from a place of gratitude, even though it didn't sound like it, because I was like pissed off for greatness. I remember when I had to take a step back when I got that announcement that I was going to be not only the backup but the third string. I considered transferring. There's a big decision I had to make. Like, do I stay? Do I just leave, go somewhere else? And I had to come back. I had to trust my gut, my intuition. But I also had to just fall back into gratitude and think about the different things that I was grateful for. I was like, I'm living in Hawaii. I'm playing D1 college football on scholarship. I mean, there's so many people that wish they could be in my shoes. And, you know, surfing is another big hobby of mine. So I got to surf whenever I wanted to. I mean, it was just like, how could I possibly be upset or be mad? So I came within myself. I was grateful. So I had a peace of mind in that. But I also had that little, you know, chip on my shoulder, like, all right, I'm going to show you guys. But it came from a place of gratitude.
Yeah, and it can take us far. I mean, that was my whole life, is always, okay, you know what? I'll show you, but I was really talking to me. Like I had that driving force. However, over the long term, it wasn't sustainable because I was missing, guess what? The gratitude. I was missing the other part. And so this is so awesome. So would you agree that it really is the mindset first and foremost when it comes to sustainable, sports, but also life, that it's the mindset, mind over matter, as they say?
Absolutely. I mean, our greatest asset is our minds, because we can do amazing things when we tap into that and we allow that greater side of us to come out. A lot of times we self-sabotage ourselves because, whatever it is, the doubts, the lack of belief, and we start coming up with excuses, things of why we can't do that and why we can't do this. And, the mind goes into protection mode, which is, it's so brilliant at doing it. Sometimes we just have to get out of our own way and surrender to that greatness from within us. And if we allow that, I mean, the sky's the limit. But, when it comes to sports, when it comes to anything, I truly believe that it does take both, the physical and the mental. It takes that training. It takes that, grinding it out, because you're building up not only your muscles, but you're building up your trust muscle, which I like to call it, because you can rely on that when the game is on the line, because you put in the preparation behind it, and you add the mental side to that, and it's a dominant effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the physical counts, but the physical can only take us so far. In terms of, even when I talked to my Navy SEAL friend, he said all the guys that come in to train as Navy SEALs, they all look like male swimsuit models, but the attrition rate is so high, the failure rate is extremely high with Navy SEALs because of that mindset factor, right? Like they all can handle it physically for the most part, but it's the mind that stops them ultimately.
Right, and it's cool being at the, now that I'm at the professional level, everybody has the physical tools at this level. Like everybody has worked hard. They're all very talented. They all have a natural gift.
Yep.
So the difference between the good players and the great players is that mindset. It's their mental approach. It's their tenacity. It's that mental fortitude. Those are the guys that I see make it, and the ones who don't make it, it all is up between the ears.
Yeah, and I know I could almost say for a fact, if I had had a mental performance coach early on, like if I had been my mother, I would have saw my drive and ambition and determination, and I would have said, oh my God, what do we have here? Because I had the talent and the gift, right? But I needed the mental performance coach to help me. And that's why I stopped. After that horse show, shortly after that, I quit riding. And I know in retrospect, yes, it was because I failed and I couldn't get over it in my mind. And I had nobody, Shane, to help me with that, to help me through that. And not any good positive influences.
Sorry, and that's what success is. It's how you can get over multiple failures.
Exactly.
It's the ones who can push through those failures. And I was fortunate enough to have a mental coach. He just happened to be my dad.
I know.
I had to remind him sometimes, I'm like, hey, I might be your son, but I'm also your client. Remember that. So I had to make sure that he still took that time that he took with his clients. And we separated it so I could make sure I was focused on that. And that's why I got into coaching as well, because I was so fortunate to have that growing up. A lot of kids don't. And I hate seeing those kids get burnt out and quit.
Yes.
Maybe because of a coach or one bad influence. That happened to me with baseball. I quit baseball because I just lost the joy of it. I let one coach, I still remember it, I let one coach dictate my happiness within that sport, and I never played it again. And that's like, yeah, I'm grateful for where I'm at. I know everything happened for a reason, and I love football. But there's still that piece of me. It's like, what if I would have played in high school? Because I know I had the talent. I could have played college baseball.
Yep.
And who knows where I would have gone with it. But I just completely lost the joy in the sport because of one coach. And it just reminded me how important this stuff is. And that's why I love working with kids. I work with all ages, but kids especially because, one, they're a sponge to it. But two, seeing them battle through these failures and learn how to overcome them is so powerful, because there's some clients that I know that they would have quit the sport if they didn't have some kind of support system behind them. And that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I want you to think back now, early as a kid, a time, where you had that conversation with yourself, like that positive self-talk. Do you remember anything like that where you weren't feeling your best, or you were challenged in some way? And then do you remember clearly saying certain things to yourself to get you back on track? Do you have any of those memories?
Yeah, I mean, going back again to high school, when I was getting the naysayers, getting coaches telling me that I wasn't going to make it to varsity, I wasn't big enough for this, I should probably switch positions. I'd never make it to college, don't even think about it. I set really high goals for myself. I was very goal-driven, even from a young age, and I set goals, that were like twice whatever the records were at my school. I was like, I'm going to double them. Like, I was just it was almost like unrealistic with my goals, and I know if I were to show anybody them, if I was to show my head coach, that they would have laughed at me.
Oh my God!
So I kept it myself, but I kept it to my own belief. But I'll be honest, It wasn't just like, okay, I set the goals. All right, here we go, let's hit them. After the first few games, my senior season, I was looking at where I was at and where I was going to go and how many games we had left. I'm doing the math, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not even on track. I'm not even close. I'm like, what am I thinking here? Like, am I just completely crazy? Am I mad thinking that this was even attainable? But when I decided right then and there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick to it. I'm just going to trust the process. I'm going to stick to one game at a time. I'm not going to look at this huge, big picture right now. I'm just going to stay one game at a time and trust that process. And when I got back to that, I stopped worrying about the overall goals. They'll take care of themselves when I just take it one step at a time. And when I did that, I surprised myself. I hit majority of my goals, 80-85% of them that senior year, but it's because I had to just keep it simple, trust the process, and take it one game at a time.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Okay, wait, let's back up the turnip truck. This is what I love hearing, okay? So I'm assuming you were in high school, you're on the JV team, and now the coaches are saying you're not going to make varsity. So that's number one, naysay, right? Like, is that right? Like, you were JV.
Shoot, it even went before that. It was youth football. Pop Warner, that they would say that I wasn't even going to, it wouldn't translate to high school. I mean, even though we won our, we went to our Super Bowl, which was in youth football, and we had a great team. It's like, well, the team's breaking up. They're all going to the rival school, and I was the only one going to the other school. And they're like, okay, well, that was a good run while you guys had it, but, you won't be able to sustain that.
Oh my God!
In high school, it was at every level.
Oh my God! Okay, so it was the coaches actually saying that to you.
Yeah. I mean, it was either coaches or dads, parents, maybe even players. I mean, it wasn't just one person. It was multiple. Because I was small. I mean, my nickname when I got to high school, like my sophomore year, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it was my sophomore year when I was practicing with the varsity. They would call me Wishbone because my legs were so skinny that they felt like with just two hands they could just rip it apart like a wishbone.
Oh, wow.
I was little. And,
okay.
I definitely wasn't the frame of a football player.
Oh, so you were thin, like narrow, thin, and thin legs, not what I call my frog legs, right? You didn't have the stature. Okay, and
right.
So
you think when you're short, you would have at least some stockiness to you. No, I was short, skinny, slow.
Oh wow!
I'd always joke, hey, I'm short, but I'm slow. So that was my advantage.
Oh my God! So so then, how tall were you? Do you remember? Like, well, of course, if you think about it,
I think I was going into high school. I was like maybe 5'7", maybe.
Wow.
I remember I had an incentive for my my 14th birthday, or maybe it was my 17th birthday. I can't remember what it was. Just to hit 100 pounds, and if I hit 100 pounds, I was going to get it was like a goal, but it was an incentive. So and that was tough for me. I was at 85 pounds, dripping wet.
Oh my God!
Going into high school, playing against there's players that are almost in the 300-pound range or 200-some pound range, and I'm this little 85-year-old twig, or 85-pound twig. And I had to put on weight, and that was the hardest thing for me. My brother would be so pissed, my older brother, because he's like, I see food and I gain weight. Like, you can eat whatever you want, and you lose weight. And it's like, well, we both have our struggles. I'm trying to gain weight here. It's not easy.
Oh, my God. So when did you have your growth spurt? It had.
I'm still waiting on that.
Shane, but you're like 6'1". Aren't you 6'1" now? Aren't you?
Yeah, I'm about somewhere around 6 foot. Yeah, if I put on some heels, I might be 6'1".
Oh, okay. But still,
I never had a huge growth spurt. I'm like Drew Brees size or Russell Wilson. They're kind of the shorter, more agile quarterbacks you see in the NFL. That's kind of my style, but. I felt like I didn't have to just live into the prototypical size of a quarterback.
Exactly.
6'3", 6'5". I decided I have strengths within my own size, and I utilize those strengths rather than, I did contemplate. I'm like, okay, how can I grow? Can I hang from my heels with sandbags and try to stretch myself? I mean, I literally thought about everything, but it wasn't until I decided, there's a strength in my attributes.
Right.
I just need to uncover what that potential is. And then I started focusing on, okay, what are my strengths in this rather than, I got to be like everybody else kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter because look at you playing pro arena football now, today, right? And so we can all just be like, okay, whatever, #whatevs, because, anyway we dice it up, 6 feet tall. First of all, that's like well above the average. Well, for men in general, for height. Okay, so you're above average there, but of course, to know that you went through so many obstacles and had social agreement that you were not going to make it, like that's your whole career. Like you'd never know that about you today. Like if we just say, oh, Shane, okay, football player. Oh, Shane, he's awesome, right? But to hear this is so incredibly inspiring because at every turn you had almost everything against you in terms of what we perceive as somebody who's going to make it. Right? Yeah.
Right. And that just, those setbacks, if you want to call them that, perceived setbacks is what I like to call them, and failures and naysayers, they just made me stronger. They made me more, mentally fit because that's what the journey's all about. It's about taking whatever failures, whatever things that are, that are hurdles in front of you, and you get through them, you become stronger. If you didn't have those, you might not be as strong. Like, I'm so grateful for those challenges looking back because it's made me the person I am today. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't want to have that just, walk in the park all the way to the NFL, and I don't learn any life lessons along the way. And now I'm, making millions of dollars, but now I don't know what to do with it. Now I'm, making bad decisions, and I'm becoming, I don't want to put any names out there, but I think we all know the ones who have had those.
Yep.
They're all across the media, and they don't know how to handle it. And so I'm very fortunate, just the route that I had to take, the path that the journey that I'm on, because it's made me the strong person I am today.
Yeah, this is what builds our chops for success. It's not like, oh, the great job, oh, you're so wonderful, here's the award. It's the ability to make it through the obstacles and the challenges and to not internalize the naysayers, not believe them, not jump on board and go, oh, yeah, you're right. Because all of that you went against in a good way. They kept saying it over and over. And that's why this is so interesting to me because you and I have never really talked in depth. And to hear all these things, like to know that you were just 85 pounds in high school, right? Is like, what? And you still played. You still made it. You still kept going. Is incredible. Where most would not keep going.
Yeah.
And
that's, again, why I'm so passionate about giving back to all the other, athletes that are, because I've been in those shoes. I just want them to know that you can achieve it. If you truly believe it, but it comes down to that core belief system, not just something on the surface. It can't be me believing it for you. You have to believe it from within to be able to achieve anything in life, and it applies on and off the field. These kids, they're learning it in their sport, but they're going to be able to take it on and use it in any avenue that they choose any part of their life, which is such a great thing.
Exactly. Okay, so let me ask you this. So thinking back on all those coaches, and I asked this to Zach Penpraise too, is, all his naysayer coaches, did any one of those coaches say, well, the chances are you won't make it, but here's what you got to do to make it? Did you have any of that? Like any positive? Like, I'm dumbfounded that nobody could say anything positive.
Yeah. I mean, I think eventually they started to kind of realize, okay, this guy's not gonna listen to our negative advice, so I guess we might as well just jump on his bandwagon and jump on his belief system. But I know, going into trying to get recruited for college was probably the biggest thing when you're in high school. Like, that's all it was. I was very late on jumping on anybody's radar. If you're not picked up by your junior year, it's really tough. And I was on nobody's radar after my junior year. It wasn't until my senior year is when I really had my great, outstanding season, and I was able to get on radars and all that stuff. But, they did tell me going into it, like, yeah, you're not the size, this probably won't work. But, if you test well, maybe at the combines, they have, different combine events or just events. You go and run a 40, you go do a bench press competition so they can see your strength. You do some different agility things so that they can get it. They can put you into into a file and use all your numbers, your stats to kind of rank you, and organize athletes that way. And when it came to testing, oh gosh, I was terrible. I wasn't, I wasn't very fast. I wasn't, when it came to the bench press, you had to do 185 pounds for as many reps as you could. I got 1.5 reps.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, they're telling me that, okay, well, if you test well, then maybe we get recognized. Well, I didn't test well. So it's like, okay, I got to get recognized some way. And I just decided it had to be on the field. So, yes, they told me that there's a way, to do it, and I just didn't have those attributes to do it. So I still had to find a different way.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, but it was then on the field. Like, okay, so do you remember your mindset after you did all the tests? You're like, but you told yourself, I'm going to find another way. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I mean, it really woke me up to, the physical side of like getting in the weight room. Like, I was already pretty small, so I knew I had to push myself, and that was when I finally pushed myself in the weight room and really found out, how that could translate to the field. I thought, it was all, at that time I was pretty mentally strong, and I was like, okay, I got my technique down, I got my mental strength down, and I didn't really utilize those physical tools as much. And then once I did that and I added them together, then I was even more confident. It built my mental confidence too, because when I took the field, I knew that I put in the work. I knew that I was prepared as I could be, and I went out there, and it did come down to game time for me. It was always I love preparation, I love that, but game time is where I thrive. I just had that competitive side, and I just knew that was what was going to sell me, or not sell me, but it was my film, So that's what truly matters. We can dissect every little attribute about players, but at the end of the day, it's who can play and who can't. So I was always like, okay, I just focused on the game, and that was it. I was going to let everything else handle itself after that.
Wow. So it was in just you playing, again, you believing in that and saying, okay, I'm going to find another way. And that's what got you the full ride, right, to Hawaii?
Again, not even as easy as that.
Oh!
I wasn't even on their radar after that. I was one that I thought that I could just do it on the field. I wouldn't have to do anything else. I hated selling myself. I hated trying to, but at that stage, being late in the radar, I had to do, the things that other people didn't have to do. The ones that were just had those 5-star ratings, that were getting recruited by all the colleges, they just had to decide which college to go to. I didn't have those choices, so I had to go and tell them, hey, pick me. I went out and flew to Hawaii, not just as a vacation, but because I was like, this is where I need to be. I need to play for June Jones, was the head coach at that time, and it was just a pass-happy offense. It was a perfect place for me. I decided, hey, you guys look at me, and I just was so persistent. It was like they couldn't look a different way. You know, because they had already told me no. They already told me we were good on quarterback. We don't need one. And I told them, well, take a second look. And I found a way, and eventually it was almost like that persistence. It wasn't an annoyance, but it was just like, okay, this kid has got some type of drive behind him. Let's give him a second look. And, you know, lo and behold, I got my opportunity and took advantage of it.
Oh my God. I'm like, the more we go down the rabbit hole, it's just like gets more intriguing and better, Shane. Like, I have even a more profound respect for you. Like, oh my God. So because on paper, man, you're just like, oh, boop, 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 you know? Like, if you look at you, you just be like, oh, okay, yeah, that must have been super easy for him. And yet it wasn't at all. Like, they didn't even pick you. You had them pick you.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to do the things that nobody else was doing to get recognized. But when you want to achieve something that nobody else thinks you can achieve, you have to do the things that nobody else is thinking that you should do. So I had to really think outside the box in how I approached everything from a young age. And I had to get really creative, and I'm very fortunate that I had that drive and was able to overcome no's and failures to keep pushing through and have that persistence.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is unstoppability and persistence. So then you took it upon yourself to fly to Hawaii and talk to the coaches one-on-one, right? Is that what you did? And you just kept saying, you know, hey, give me a second chance.
I had to utilize every resource in my tool bag at that time. I had a coach that I was very fortunate to work with, Bob Galliano. He played in the NFL for a number of years. He was my personal coach at that time. He had a connection with June Jones and Mouse Davis, who were two coaches there at Hawaii. And I was like, okay, he's got a connection there. That could be my in there. He can at least open the door to us so I can get a conversation going. So most kids, they get a recruiting visit where it's totally expenses paid. I didn't even get to that level. So I had, well, you know, fortunate enough, my parents were very supportive. They paid our own way. We even paid for my coach, Bob, to come out there and introduce us and get the, you know, open the door for us. And because of that connection, then we were able to get on the field. I was able to do a little workout. They were able to see me. We were able to get on the whiteboard with them. I got to know them at more of a personal level. And that difference, you know, most kids just send in a highlight film. All they see is a little DVD, and that's all they know of them, and they check out their highlights. I went the extra effort. Okay, you're going to see me face to face. You're going to get to know me, my personality, and then I'm not leaving until you guys say yes. So
wow.
It's like almost like buy a one-way ticket, and it's like burning the shift. I'm not going home until I get a yes. So I had that drive, and I think that they were grateful that I had that drive, because later on, you know, then they're like, okay, we did make the right decision, but we didn't know it at first. It took me to get, hey, you know, slapping them in the face. I'm right here.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So how long did it take them to say yes? Like, you go to Hawaii. Yeah.
It was ongoing discussions before that. You know, I'd already been trying to get in contact with them, and I was somewhat on the recruiting radar, but they had already told me no. It wasn't until I went out there, I was talking to them, it was that week. I think I was there about a week, and it was an ongoing discussion, and then it was almost like a few days left on our trip. It was actually the day of the Super Bowl, and the head coach, he's like, okay, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. After that, I'll come to your hotel, and we'll talk. And I remember that so vividly. Watching Peyton Manning beat the Bears, and then he comes over to our hotel, and literally he's a celebrity there. I mean, there's no NFL out there, so he walks into this, and everybody's like, "Peyton Fisher, oh my gosh, that's June Jones, that's June Jones." And then he sits down in the lobby with me, and now they're looking at me like, "Who's this kid he's talking to? Like this celebrity?" And I'm like, I wasn't expecting it, but he told me he didn't have a scholarship at that time because, you know, it was so late in the recruiting process, and the quarterback at the time, Cole Brennan, had just announced that he was going to come back for a senior season and forego the NFL. So he's like, we don't have a scholarship at this time, but if you're willing to walk on, I'm going to take care of you next year. And I was just like, okay, where do I sign? Where do I say yes? I was ready to just go to the beach and just scream out my excitement.
Oh my God!
So And then he goes and leaves after that first year, my freshman year. He leaves when he said the next year he'd take care of it. So then I'm back to the drawing board. I have to go and earn my scholarship and fight for it with brand new coaches. And eventually, it took me another season, but I did eventually, with those same persistent efforts and belief system, I finally did earn that scholarship.
Oh my God!
So, man, it was a fight. It was a dog fight the whole time. Still is.
Wow. Okay. Incredible. So let's back it up. Did he ever tell you what it was and why he said yes? Did he say, listen, this is why I'm going to let you walk on? Do you have any idea what it was? Like what shifted them? What changed their mind? What had them say yes?
One of his assistant coaches, he was really a mentor to him, was Mouse Davis. He was the inventor of the run and shoot offense, which is the offense that we did in Hawaii. It's a very famous offense. He started back in, I want to say, the 80s or something in Portland State. So he's a well-known name. And he was like his mentor out there. We really hit off a relationship with Mouse while we were in Hawaii. It wasn't necessarily June Jones. Yeah, we had a little dialogue, but it was Mouse that we got to that personal level. And I'll tell you, this shouldn't even be aired because this is like not really NCAA standards. It's kind of under the table thing, but hey, we'll just share it.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear it.
I've already had my college career.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from me now, but I again getting creative and just saying, I'm gonna find a way. We decided, okay, technically you're not allowed to do a workout for a coach, like a private workout. That's not an NCAA. It's a violation. So he said, we got to the point where he's like, okay, I may have a football in my office on your way out. If you want, my office is open. It's flat. If you're able to get a pump, you can pump it up. And if you just happen to be on the field tomorrow around 1 o'clock, I may happen to drive by. And I decided, okay, all right, I'm gonna take full advantage of this. I went there. I went and just, it's just a normal, just playing catch. Nothing more than that, right? I'm just by myself on the field, and I was throwing so well that day. I go to my coach that was there with me, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm throwing so well, but it sucks because nobody's watching. It's just, going unnoticed. And he's like, you see that car over there under the tree?
Oh my God.
He's like, yeah, that's Mouse. So don't worry, you're getting noticed. And it was after that, he saw something, Mouse saw something, and he told June Jones. And when he told me he wanted me to play for him, even though it was a walk-on at that time, he's like, I trust Mouse with my life, basically. And he told me that this is the guy you want to get. So it was like him going after the right person, and him being in his ear in that such an influential role that he was like, okay, I can't deny this anymore. So I had to get creative, had to think outside the box just to get noticed. But that perseverance paid off.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. I just have to know. So you're throwing the football. Were you hitting a target? Like, what were you throwing? Were you just throwing the football like as far as you could throw it, or do you like throw and hit something? In other words, you said you were just playing by yourself. So what were they looking at? Yeah.
Well, my coach was out there, the one that we flew out there with us for this trip.
Right.
So he was just kind of having me go through drills as he would in a normal coaching session. So I'm doing dropbacks. I'm hitting him in certain spots. I'm doing footwork drills. So I'm really showing off my attributes, but disguised as just another coaching session, just a workout, a training session. So they got to see that. They got to see my footwork. They got to see my arm, my accuracy. And we simulated different types of throws, whether short throws, medium throws, long throws. And he would just stand in spots, basically being the target, and I would just go through my thing.
Oh, and you would throw to him. He'd stand there and you.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
See, because I'm very visual, but I love the art of sports. So that's why I was wondering, were you just like, arbitrarily throwing footballs all over the place? No, I see. The coach was out there on the field, standing there, and you just like nailing him. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So amazing. You don't have that on tape, do you? I would love to see that.
No, I wonder, we could ask that coach. Maybe he was videotaping with his phone or something. But no, I don't have any. That's all in the memory bank.
Okay.
A very happy, positive memory.
God, that's like a movie thing. That's like a movie scene, Shane. Right? So what we have is the building of relationship, the persistence, right? And then having someone believe in you because you believe in you, and that person having influence to influence the ultimate decision maker. Isn't that what happened? In short?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's all about,
Woo!
If it wasn't this door that was going to open, well, what door can lead me to that door? What steps do I need to take? If it's not just cut and dry, straight arrow, I got to just talk to this coach. Okay, well, let's go backtrack. Who can I talk to? It was just finding whatever crack in the door that I could get my foot into and just, going for it full out without, the risk or the fear of, what if they say no? What if the failure? It was just go until they say yes. And that persistence, when you have that persistence, you have that drive, you're going to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to be open to look at all possibilities. I'm always a believer there's not just one solution to any problem or challenge that you're facing. There's many solutions if you're willing to look and you're willing to take action. You'll find a way.
Exactly. And then you were able to effectively execute, right? And show up and shine, in that moment. So it wasn't June in the car. It was the other, what's his name? Mouse, yeah.
Like
a mouse?
Mouse Davis.
Oh.
Yes.
Like a mouse.
Yeah, he's very short like a mouse too, but he is a brilliant, amazing man.
Wow.
And learned a lot from him. But yeah, he was the one
in the car.
Got me.
Yeah.
In the car. And he was the one who was that voice in June's ear, who was the head coach. And then he was like, I trust Mouse with my life. And if he says you're the right guy, I'm going to believe him. And I'm going to go with it. So.
Aha. So Mouse was the one who said if you just happen to be on the field at 1 p.m., you just happen to have a football. Right. We get that. But look, I got to say, way to go, way to, think like not just outside the box, but there was no box and it was somebody on your side, like all of that. It's almost karma. It's like the karma finally came back, Shane, right? To where you had somebody without a shadow of a doubt see you and believe in you just as much as you believe in yourself. And bam. Right.
So, and people might say, some of the things that I've accomplished in my life, are just luck. And I'm a true believer that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Mm-hmm. When you prepare and you take action, you go for it, opportunities are going to come and go. Mm-hmm. But if you're not ready for that opportunity, you're going to miss it, and you're not going to have that opportunity to be lucky. But when you put yourself constantly in that position to get that lucky, okay, I might drive by around 1 o'clock. If you're not willing to go grab the ball and go work out, even if nobody's watching, there's just that chance that somebody could be watching.
Yeah,
that's the opportunity. Take advantage of it. It might look lucky, but if you're not, ready for that opportunity, if you're not preparing for that opportunity, you're going to miss it. So I was always just preparing, putting myself in position to be lucky.
Yeah, and I honestly don't believe in luck. I believe in karma. But you, right, you have been training and working the mental game, the physical game over and over and over again. And you're just relentless. I got to say, now as coaches, right, your persistence alone and you flying out, to meet the coaches, that persistence alone, I'd have to pay attention. Wouldn't you agree? Like that alone, I'd have to say, okay, wait a second. With this kind of perseverance and indomitable will, I got to give you at least a second glance, a chance, because you were already showing them that no was not an option. Right?
It's being that squeaky tire when in a positive way. It's like, all your tires in your car, you might never even notice them, but that squeaky tire is going to get the attention. You're going to go put some WD-40 on it. You're going to go make sure that thing's working properly. It's not an annoyance. But it was just being in that ear that, okay, I need to draw some attention to this. I need to see what's up with this There's something to him. And I was just that squeaky tire in a good way that just like demanded the the attention and in a good way.
Yeah, completely. And I love it. No was never an option for you. And you're like, okay. And you weren't defiant about it. You're like, okay, hang on. Let me rethink this, and let me restructure, reconfigure, and execute. That's the thing with you, Shane. We got to get that nickname for you because it was just like, it's almost like no's not an option. It's like, don't ever say no to Shane Austin. You're going to be in for a lot of surprises. It's like, oh my God.
When you take on that mindset is that there's multiple ways to accomplish anything. No doesn't have to be so devastating. You're like, okay, that way didn't work, but there's other ways. So now let me just explore those other ways. And eventually, you find a way. If it's meant to be, you'll find a way.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. So we just have just a couple more minutes. Not a couple. We have about 5 minutes if you have it. 5-10 minutes. But I wanted.
I got all day.
Oh,
great.
I know. Isn't this fun? Yeah. It's so fun. Time flies when you're having fun. I wanted, because I'm known for digging deep and getting stories that aren't normally shared about your life. So, and specifically back in childhood where there's something that you have never shared publicly before that impacted you and made you who you are today, even if it's something at the time, like looking back, you weren't proud of, but it's certainly in good, positive, benevolent ways has made you a better, more incredible person, extraordinary person today. Can you go back and tell us a story that you've never shared?
Yeah, actually, one comes to mind, and yeah, maybe it's something that I'm definitely not proud of, but at the same time, I don't have any regrets when I look back because everything has shaped me to who I am today. You learn from every thing, and yes, this particular moment of weakness when I was younger is something that I just look back and I'm just like, why would I ever be like that? Why would I ever be that way to somebody? But we're talking about karma. I had instant karma. So I had when I was younger, I had a boating school that I went to in the summer. It was like, it was like a couple weeks long. We got to learn how to sail boats and, cut the wind, tie knots. It was really a cool class. Like I really got to learn a lot about sailing.
Wait, how old were you? Sorry, how old were you? Like, do you remember about how old or exactly how old you were?
That's a tough call. I think I must have been in maybe middle school. I don't know. I don't remember exactly that age, but it's somewhere between maybe 10 and 13, I'm guessing, which is, in my opinion, middle school is sometimes the roughest years because kids are just brutal at that time. I mean, they don't realize the effect that they have with the words, with their bullying. I mean, I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been bullied. My younger brother's been bullied. I've bullied my younger brother. And then this particular moment would be, a sense where I was bullying, and I didn't even realize it at the time. At that age, you just, I don't know, you just don't think about the effect that it could have. And I feel terrible because there was a girl in our class that, like, the first day I remember reading. We had to go around the table and read out certain things, and maybe there were just some sailing instructions. I don't know what it was, but I remember I was a pretty strong reader for my age. I was pretty proud of that. And this girl, she was just a little slower when it came to reading. She had some stutters. She wasn't quite at that level yet. Everybody learns at different paces. And I remember when she started to read and it was slow and it wasn't to my level, I started laughing, like giggling, basically making fun of her without knowing it. And I just remember seeing her just sink in and just kind of shrug her shoulders and just start almost like she wanted to just hide. And I remember that so vividly. Like, there's so many things in my childhood that I don't remember, but I remember that just being like instant, oh man, I'm such a dick.
Yeah.
And
wow.
But I didn't learn immediately from that because I remember our final day of that sailing class, we were going to be doing some testing out in the water, but unfortunately there was something with the water conditions. It wasn't safe because if we were to fall into the water, it was very dirty. I don't know if they had an oil spill or something, but it was, you'd probably get sick if you fell in. And so we had to bring up the boats up to the dock, basically, and carry them. And I remember telling her, and I don't know why, I was just a little bratty kid and just thought it was funny, but I said, I hope you fall in and get sick. And I look back, I'm like, how could I possibly say that to somebody? What would go through my head? I would say, oh, this is a good thing to say. And this is the thing that hit home so much that I remember vividly, is I'm coming from a place of just a dark place when I say that. And she, I'm still inspired by just her love in that moment. She's like, well, I hope you don't fall in. And I'm like, again, instant, I'm like, oh, I feel like an asshole.
Oh my gosh.
And then we go and pick up the boats, and we go to bring them up the dock. And as we're walking, I didn't realize I was on the edge of the dock, and I didn't realize, based on the shape of the boat, I ran out of dock, and I was like, wait, and I fell in. And it was instant karma in that moment. And the great thing about it is that I did get sick, and I was sick for like a good week from falling into that water. And I got to say, that might have been some dirty, nasty water, but it was cleansing because it I evolved from that moment. It was just like looking back, like, why would I ever do that to somebody else? I'm like, thank God I fell in, because I needed a slap in the face for that one.
Wow.
So that was my instant karma moment that I'm not proud of, but I don't regret it because I know how impactful that is moving forward. I can never be like that. If I ever see something like that, I remember that girl when she says, well, I hope you don't fall in. She came from a place of love, even though I was being such a jerk. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. So if she's listening, I apologize for my younger self, but thank you for being strong in that moment, because I was weak.
Oh my God, I love this story, because here she was. She took the higher road, said, I hope you don't fall in. And you end up falling in and getting sick for like a week in the gross, disgusting water. Like, ugh! Like that already creeps me out. Like that gross water. And so did you use that, to draw on since that time, in terms of thinking, okay, karma, like, did you form some great reference for be careful, like the karma thing? Did you ever refer to it as part of your learning from it?
Maybe not necessarily thinking about, karma, like don't do this just because, karma will get back at me, but I just remember so vividly her, taking the high road and being that, just coming from a place of love, that was always a reminder to me that it doesn't matter what other people say to you, what other, bullies, whatever it is in life, everybody's got some type of bully, whether it's, it doesn't matter what age you are, and it can show itself in any shapes and forms, but it's coming from that responding in love no matter what. It's so powerful, and I just remember that she just came from, even though she might not even know it, she came from a place of love, like, well, I hope you don't fall in, and I hope that, basically, and I think of that, like, if I'm confronted with something like that, just somebody's just really trying to get under my skin, I could just fight fire with fire if I wanted to, or I could just, like her, take the high road and come from a place of love. And that's, I've always found that that's the best place to come from. And that was an amazing reminder and example for me.
Yeah, and very impactful in terms of, like, it's even reminding me. You kind of know about the neighbor and the rooster. I don't want to take. Oh my God! Let's not get too deep into it. But I have a blind rooster that I rescued from the wildfires, and another, that was adopted. I mean, that was left off. Like somebody just dumped off the rooster, and so I took them. I rescued them, and the neighbor is complaining because they crow too much, and that's their natural instinct to crow.
Right.
And I don't want to take. Like at first, I'm like, I'm not taking the higher road, but this is a reminder of thank you, Shane, taking the higher road is so much more powerful. And I do believe in karma, where isn't it interesting that you actually say to this sweet girl, I hope you fall in and get sick and it happened to you.
Oh, I know. I spoke it directly to myself. I mean, she came from a place of love, and I feel like that just, my words bounced off of her love right back at me, hit me right in the freaking face. And I just think that it's so powerful. If you can come from a place of love despite anything that's in front of you, you're coming from a place, you're coming from a good place. You're coming from integrity. Yep. You're aligned with your source. You're your greatest version of yourself, and you come from a place of love, and we can handle anything when we come from that mindset.
Absolutely. And you talked about the gratitude, the unconditional love, the gratitude, and, karma, I've seen it go both ways. Karma can be great, and it also can be quite frightening. And I mean, it's almost eerie that happened, that one must at least go, that's interesting, right? Is the very words you spoke in a malicious way came back to hurt you, not her. She's almost protected in that unconditional love. And this is not pinpointing like, oh, bad Shane. We've all done that. We've all been the bully to a certain degree, even if it's just being mean or saying something negative about someone behind their back. That's a form of negative, like subtle bullying, right?
Right.
And
it comes in all shapes and sizes.
Exactly right. And we all do that as kids. I remember one time my brother, he has very dark skin, so he looks half black, half Asian. And we had a black maid. I love her. Oh my God. And my mom would have to drop her off. And we as little kids, me and my sister, because they're all 15 months apart, I must have been like 7 or 8 or 9. So that means my sister would have been, if I'm 9, she's 8. And then he would have been 7. No, he's younger. He looked more like 5 or 6. So then I'm 7 and 8. And we were like, okay, Paul, you got to here's where you live. You got to go. And we started like kick him outside the car. Like, okay, this is where you live. Get out. And he's like, no. And he was like so cute, like this little boy. And he was screaming, no. And I mean, I never forgot that. Like, how mean was that? Right? Oh my God. And I just felt so bad, but this is what kids do. So there's nothing, no judgment here, but this is why these things happen. But that was a perfect opportunity for you to learn super fast, right?
Yeah.
That watch what you say. And so I really appreciate that story. And thank you for sharing something that you've never shared before.
Yeah, I really haven't. I maybe shared it one time, maybe with my wife or something. But I mean, I think even if my parents are listening to this, they probably don't remember that or even know that happened. So yeah, this is definitely one that I haven't shared. So I'm, grateful that I had the opportunity to share with you today. It was, I think, a good lesson for me, but for anybody.
Oh yeah, and a great reminder. Like,
yeah.
A lot of times it is Arrested Development. The little bully kid, unless they're evolving within themselves, still become the bully as an adult. Interesting. It doesn't really change unless we are proactive and consciously go back to change or transform it, Shane. Yeah. And so, because you'll see people who show up as bullies or controlling or domineering as adults had a lot of that as kids. They were the bully. So that story was amazing and so profound for all of us to help us with our evolution and to really take the higher road. That's really what that's about. And I mean, over and over, like this whole thing is amazing. So I want to ask you the last question for this time, and I would love to have you come back because you have so much great wisdom. So
we could record 8 shows in one day, I think. Between you and me, we could just go on and on.
I know.
I love it.
Well, yeah, you got to come back because I even want to talk about how you coaching Olympic athletes and what you'd have to our coaching advice for people. But what the last question for this podcast is, what one most poignant important, valuable thing would you say, like the one pivotal component that would attribute to your long-term success, 9 years old, choosing football, and now professional, arena football quarterback? Like, what would that one thing be?
I gotta tell you, it is tough to narrow it down to one thing because there's so many things that I have to constantly apply to keep achieving and growing. As you know, going through the coaching program we have, there's so many principles and they all go hand in hand. But if I had to come back, narrow it to one, even that.
All right, do three. You can get three.
Two.
Okay, 2 or 3. Yeah, go ahead.
Is one, going back to my story of my journey that's ongoing. I'm still right in that journey. It was that perseverance, that persistence, that drive that helped me overcome the different hurdles and perceived setbacks. But I think the biggest thing, the most important thing was that belief system from within, that core belief in myself. It didn't matter what others said. I was going to believe what I truly believed. And so many people let others in their narrow vision of a belief system, and they let that project onto them. And I was just, at a young age, I was good at surrounding myself with the right people, the right support system that, if I had friends going off a different direction, that even if they were close to me, I was just so good at, well, he's going a different direction. I don't need him anymore in my life. And I don't know why I had that intuitive instinct to, a lot of people stick to those friends that are, even if they're a bad influence. So I was able to keep surrounding myself with people that, supported my dreams and aspirations, and I was able to fall back into that belief system when the naysayers were to show up, because they continued to show up, but I continued to fall back to what I believed in, not what they believed in.
Wow. Okay, so I need to ask you this. Do you remember having that the core belief system starting early, like as that little 7, 8-year-old kid, like 6, 7, 8? Do you, and like you can actually think about it now, like when it actually, you had a little, like, I remember at 7 going, horses are my thing. Like, this is my thing. Do you remember having that start of that core belief system of believing in yourself?
Yeah, actually, I do. Kids, when they grow up, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a police officer. I always was like, I want to be a professional football player. Like, that was just, as a kid, and we have such an innocence and a naiveness to us at that young age that's beautiful, because if we could all just tap back into that naiveness of being a child, where we don't have that scar tissue built up, we don't have all those negative influences in our life that tell us you can't do this, and we start buying into that kid, that innocence of that childlike mindset, I can do anything.
Yep.
I can, it's that every day is a brand new baby day, that the possibilities are endless. When we can tap back into that childhood belief, I was able to just hold on to that. And I think that's what got me over those hurdles that normally would probably derail somebody else. And they would be like, you know what, it didn't work out for me. And they'd let the naysayers then take a hold. But I kept on to that childhood innocence, that naiveness, that almost just ignoring reality. I was unrealistic.
I love that. Yes.
I was unrealistic when it came to social proof and social influence, what others thought could be done. I just stayed to that naiveness of a child.
Oh my God, that's genius, because that's where I believe it starts. And if we can tap into that's the magic bullet. That's what I believe, Shane. So were you actually, how old, can you remember how old you were when you said, I want to be a professional football player? Do you remember that moment? At like one particular...
It was probably pretty early. So if I started at 9, I didn't become a real, quarterback till like 10. It was probably right around then, 10.
Oh my God.
Once remember that coach had that talk with me. He's like, if you're going to be my quarterback, it's commitment. You have to be the first in everything. You have to be the best. You have to lead by example. When I made that, I was just kind of going through the motions. when I made that commitment to my coach, but also to myself, that was also when I lit the match, and I was just like, I can do this. This is what I'm going to do. And I think that's when it really clicked for me. I'm going to play professional football.
Oh, wow. And that's, I mean, we're talking 10, 11. Like,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, very young.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it took that commitment. It took
absolutely.
that, okay, I'm not just doing this, going through the motion. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to freaking be the best at it. So I just had that right when I made that decision, that commitment, that's when I knew, okay, this is the direction I'm going.
Yes, and those decisions we make early on, negative or positive, are what dictate our lives subconsciously and unconsciously, Shane. That's why I have to always go back, because if we look and we can see and go back and tap into the innate childlike power, that wonder and innocence. And I love what you said. I got to say it again. I ignored reality. I ignored reality, and you ignored negative social proof. You ignored the social proof. And that is genius right there. Go ahead.
I love that, because when you set I hate to say hate, but people say like, oh, set realistic goals, and it puts us in that box. I love setting unrealistic goals because there's less competition. the realistic goals everybody's going after, but when you set unrealistic goals that are just so far-fetched, you only have a few people to compete with, because not that many people have that drive and that motivation to go and achieve those unrealistic goals.
Oh my God, another genius. Wow, Shane, you're blowing my mind, Shane. Oh my God. And now your new nickname is Shane, no is not an option, Austin. Hoo.
I'll take it.
Yeah, and Shane, ignore reality and set unrealistic goals. Like, you're preaching to the choir here. That's
at the end of the day, we control our reality. We dictate. A lot of people let life dictate us. Our circumstances dictate who we are, based on the cards that we're dealt. But coming from that belief system, coming from that mental fortitude, it's taking whatever circumstances and creating your own circumstances, creating your own reality, whatever that may be. Who's to say, what your reality can be? So I love it.
Oh my God, Shane. Okay, so that said, anyone who wants to connect with you, how do we do that? What's the best way to contact Shane? Don't take no for an answer and set unrealistic goals. Ignore reality. How do we meet Shane, that guy, Austin?
Well, our company is Extreme Focus. You can find us on YouTube, social media, all that stuff. Extreme Focus TV is our YouTube. But my social media, just looking up Shane Austin. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. It's at Shane Austin 10. I post a lot of stuff on. I'm really kind of focusing on Instagram, but we've been doing our weekly show on Fridays, which we're going to have to get you as a guest on one of these Aloha Fridays.
Oh, thank you.
We do a Facebook Live every Friday. And we bring in a new guest each time, and it's live. So it's just like this podcast. It's raw. It's unedited. It's just like, we'll see what comes up. So it's been a great start to it. So I encourage anybody who wants to just connect with me or just hop on our weekly Facebook Lives at 1 o'clock Pacific on Fridays, called Aloha Friday.
Okay, Aloha Friday, and this is Extreme Focus. Dave Austin, your dad, I love your dad. He is like... He's just like, I don't know. He's just so a little crazy like me, but he has such a great personality. And that's how I met you, is through your dad, right? And becoming a certified Extreme Focus coach, adding that to my repertoire. Yes, all of you are awesome. The entire family. I mean, I cannot say enough. I just have to give a shout out to the Austin family. You and your dad are in partnership with Extreme Focus. Of course, then your brothers help out as well. And of course, your amazing mom, Kathy, shout out to her behind the scenes and all the writing she does. She's amazing. People tune in, and you can just, if we Googled Shane Austin, you're the first to come up, right? S-H-A-N.
I hope so.
Shane, you haven't done that? You got to, okay, I have to spell it for everybody. S-H-A-N-E, and then Austin,
Yep.
A-U.
Austin.
Yeah, S-T-I-N. Shane Austin, and it's Shane Austin 10. That's your jersey number. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
10 is my jersey number, so that's all my handles on social media is at Shane Austin 10.
Okay.
But I appreciate all the kind words about just the family. I do got to disagree, though. My
Yeah.
dad's not a little crazy. He's a lot of crazy.
I'm glad you said it. I was trying to be
Good
nice.
crazy.
Yeah, because I can already hear him going, "Shut up, Karen."
With love, though, right? It's always coming from love, even though
yeah.
it's a shut up.
When you get that from your dad, from Dave, "Shut up, Karen," you know you're loved. That means you're really in the family when you get that, right? And the way he says it is hilarious. And so, we're going to have you definitely back on again. And we're going to keep going. And I'm like halfway through my certification because I'm all geared up. And then we're definitely going to talk more about this ignore reality and set unrealistic goals. I am so excited and enthralled by that, Shane. I'm like, oh my God, Shane. I don't want to use your dad's word awesome, but you are like off the charts, like beyond. Some of the genius things you said today, I can't thank you enough. So super duper inspiring and beyond extraordinary. Like, this is what this is about. Any last words of wisdom from you at all to wrap it up today?
No, geez. Last words of wisdom. I just got to say that wherever you are in your life, whether it's business, whether it's sports, anybody listening to this, remember, you are the creator. You create your reality. You dictate your circumstances, and it's not the circumstance that dictates you. When you have that attitude, it's all about attitude. Attitude and gratitude.
Yeah.
They can push you through anything.